There we go.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We're Bones and Gabby, and we're discussing the scoring sheets today.
So, we're having technical difficulties today because we are out in the wilderness. So peaceful out here, so nice. But our
Aw.
internet connection is spotty. Um,
So,
this
for the recording on the Facebook Mentors group, I have posted the copy and paste of the scoring sheet. It does probably have a couple typos because we added a few things to it that we realized weren't there or got taken off and somewhere in the mats. So
this is the same score sheet we used last year. It was really a good score sheet for what we needed for this program. The goal of the score sheet is just not to see best overall things. We're trying to say, okay, how were they at this facet of burlesque? Were they good at their tees? Did their costume hit point? And because I don't really know a lot about other festival score sheets,
and they're all different because we've heard.
We went with something, we
Yeah.
designed something that would fit the program. So we were familiar with cheerleading and other types of performance competition.
And military competitions where they specifically tell you what you sucked at.
So
or what you did great
the
at.
first draft, the first draft was a textbook, but we got some help and we got some advisements, and of course we're always looking to improve. In anything that we can give feedback to our proteges when they ask for it, we do not ever give them unsolicited feedback. They have to request it from us, and what we do is we don't show them the score sheets. We take the notes that the judges give us, and then we put that into their critiques. Then we have an independent set of burlesquers
that
that
was not there at the venue or judging or anything like that, so they can see with fresh eyes their video.
And they stay anonymous, and they give us honest critiques, and then we put together a nice little critique. We send it to the on request. We send it to the protege,
and they don't know who said what.
Mhm.
And then we give them also a certificate for GLCC for their act.
Yeah. So kind of
So
saying,
they know with their act that they get their certificate, what they could improve on, what they did absolutely wonderful, and it's never anything that beats them up or downgrading. So that way they can improve either on their act or their costume for other events.
it's to give them something to motivate them to move forward.
And we always ask, but it is not mandatory. If you want to give your critique, it is, remember, we put it in the pile with all the judges and everything, so they don't know it's from their mentor. Because you saw it from the beginning to the end and to where they put it on stage, and sometimes it's not anything that they showed you. Okay, so you're able to give a honest review of their act, what you saw on the stage.
And we filter it. We filter the language to try to keep it very instructive over oh, I saw this, I saw that, you know, the eyes and things like that.
Absolutely.
So there are there's more than 5 categories now. We kind of changed things up. When you look at the scorecard, the first thing on it is scorecards instructions. It says there are 5 categories, things to consider, bearing in mind each
We have more
actor,
categories because we combined, added things in. We have to proofread it.
All right. The scoring system is a 1 to 5.05 system. So it could be 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. So it's basically a 10-point system, but we're using 1 through 5
And
with the
with
decimal
3
point.
judges, that means sometimes the score is down to 0.16 on a difference between someone winning and not.
We're looking for, there's a category for showmanship and costume. These are the crucial scoring areas. If something comes down to so close that it just can't even be measured, we're going to look at those 2 categories to tell us, hey, this is the heavier weighing of the
yeah, that's the tiebreakers.
Let's see. Costume. Types of act. Okay. Each title winner will be awarded in each of our categories, and we'll give you a list of the categories. I think we put them out
Yeah.
before. We'll send out those reminders and let you guys know what categories are out there for actual winners. Um, Classic acts, because we have best grand champion. That's who kind of just gave the best show.
And that doesn't, that could be in anything. It could be comedy, it could be classic, or it could be Weirlesque. And the points, they got tops. They automatically went to grand champ, and it leaves every other category open for everybody else.
Something that happened the year that we competed in GLCC. It's something that as a producer you want to avoid because it doesn't branch your market out. It's called sweeping awards. You know, one competitor is just so fabulous. They took absolutely everything home with us.
The best this, the best this, the best this, the best this, and they already got grand champ.
No. In our system, once you win grand champ, that's it. You are the best of all of those things. Everybody below you is your runner up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
We don't have first runner up or second because everybody in those other categories are the next runner up. It doesn't matter if they were 0.16 away or 1 point. For their category that they were shooting in, that is what they got the highest points of other people shooting for that same category.
So in a classics act, we tell the judges that classic acts, and when we're looking at them, should feature 2 or more elements of the old school burlesque. It should fit into that, you know, that idea of old school burlesque. You know, it'll incorporate good peels and stockings and fans and those things we kind of think of back then. And again, a lot of this is subjective because it is art.
I will say one act was a teeter-totter of being classic or neo. It had both, it gave both energies to both, and it hit on both, and it won classic. So you just never know. Like the judges, I'll let you talk about the judges on the categories.
That'll come in a little bit.
Yeah.
Part of classic is, of course, legend tributes. Any legend tribute act will be considered a classic act. Unless they change the music to a modern beat, and then we might kick it over to a neo side. I don't look at any time to have that problem. So if we do, we'll cross that bridge then. Neo does include pinup storytelling and tribute style acts. What were you?
I'm going to actually hit on the one thing. So before we get the scoring sheets to the judges, we have asked you guys, what is your protege going for? What categories? Storytelling, comedy, and Weirlesque. And it could hit those 3 categories, right?
It can be more than that.
And it could be more than that, but those are the 3. Mine was the year I was a protege, I was going for innovative, the best prop, right? And I could have gone for best nostalgia that we have for this year. So those were the 2 that I could have got, storytelling or any of the others in comedy, but those were the 2 that I was looking for. And the mentor and the protege said, hey, these are 2 I'm going for primarily, but a judge may say, and all 3 judges say, oh, they checked 4 different categories for that act. So that scoring puts them eligible in 4 different categories. Does that make sense? So like if the judges are going to scoring, they say, oh my God, that act was totally Weirlesque and storytelling. And the judges all agree on those 2 categories and they don't put anything else, that scoring goes for those 2 categories. And of course, the grand champion.
Okay.
Right. Now, to give I went ahead and scrolled to the bottom. Where the categories are grand champion, best classic, best neo, best Weirlesque. And now, let's say we don't have any Weirlesque competitors this year. We'll just scrap that category.
Because we had 3 last year, and it could be horror, it can be nerd, it can be any of the Weirlesques. So if you have someone that kind of goes into that maybe is doing a nostalgia act, but it also goes on to a nerdlesque act because it's about Greece or whatever, they're able to have two categories.
Storytelling, which I mean, most acts, you know,
Most
it's
should
just
tell a
it
story.
should tell a story. Even the older acts, kind of, it's a story of seduction. You want to see
Mhm.
it, you can't see it. So, but storytelling is a awarded to kind of that one that said, wow, that actually brought a whole story into it. And we've seen them. We've all seen these
Well,
acts.
my example is my act.
My act.
My 22 is a HOA, and it's a drunk 50s housewife that's using Listerine to get drunk, okay, and cover up her pot breath. And she gets the kids and the family off to school. She sweeps, and then it goes from Leave It to Beaver to I don't give a damn about my reputation. And it goes through the whole story of being gay, really. So, and having a whip and enjoying life. So, it can be a progression where you can see the story, or it can be more that classic of the seductions of the song telling the story and their moves.
But the bolder that your protege is about telling that story, the more recognizable they're trying to tell a story, and that's probably going to favor the judges a little more. Comedy, you know, those they could be a sling and fling act that you could throw some jokes in there.
It could be the type of song.
Just the act itself. There's just
You guys are professionals. You know what comedy is.
right.
We don't have to explain it.
All right. Fusion. Fusion is where you can
Yes.
take other arts and bring it over to burlesque. I mean, this is happening so much more. We're seeing more cirque and more
Drag-lesque, where they're drag doing burlesque, where cirque, where they're on the lyra ring and they're taking off their clothes. They're not just staying in one costume.
While we were on tour, we had one performer who did a balance board, and they did their whole burlesque act on a balance board.
With hula hoops and taking off their uniform and stuff like that on balancing on a ball, you know. So
That's cool.
there's different fusions. There's singing available.
Yeah, Sing and Fling is also going to be on the score sheet. I don't know if anyone's going to be doing it. If you do have a Sing and Flinger, I'll need to know well in advance so I can make microphone arrangements and make sure that I have the right sound guy for.
Yeah.
Because I'm very particular about that.
Yes. And if they're coming with their own headset,
I need
like
to,
in 22, she sang through her whole burlesque act. Whew, and it was a lot. And she had a headset so she could take off her clothes. So we didn't have to have a mic for her. So that is really important to know.
Yeah, we don't have a wireless mic like that. So if a protege wants to do a very active sing and fling, they're gonna have to provide their own wireless. All
Okay.
right.
Okay, so that's a fusion. And that could be magic also. I mean, there's just so much with fusion.
Because we're rockabilly babies and we like the old school stuff and the
We
dirty
added
dancing
best
stuff.
nostalgia this year.
So anybody that kind of can touch on that old school feeling, it could be a decades thing.
It could be 20s, it could be the 40s or 50s, the pinups. Pinups is really big right now in the vintage and the burlesque scene. So we want people to be able to mentor or create an act and be able to be recognized for that specifically. But it can be 20s, pretty much what up to
I mean,
this decade.
yeah, I mean, we all prefer, again.
Yeah, especially if it's yeah.
Most of us are producers. We're all producers and performers. Yeah, you guys got this. Innovative. You ever catch one of those acts and you're like, oh my God, that was just so creative.
Their costume, it pulls off with the cords and their whole costume drops.
Or it turned into a flower.
Or it turned into a flower. Or my broomstick has a whip in it. It also has a feather duster with some joints. So
there's just all kinds of stuff coming out.
So it could be about the costume or the prop.
And then of course sling and fling. I'm a big fan of, if you have a sing and flinger, teaching them to step away from the microphone to take off those clothes. You know, but
Or not
Mm,
hunched down at the
not hunched down
microphone.
at the
So
microphone. I don't know why that is just a thing for
so
me.
do let us know if you guys have any singers. Um
Now going back just real quick, what the scorecard will actually look for, costume. And with a costume, we're looking for overall appearance, functionality, practicality of use, um, embellishments as it pertains to the act. You know, what did they add to the costume? Did they put some joints on it because it's a weed act?
did that costume make sense for the act that they were doing in the music?
And then stage presence, you know, did they show face? Did did their prop, music, and act and the facial expression convey and communicate the story? So then of course the tease. You got to hit all the basics. We want to see the shit. I mean, I've seen. I love burlesque, and I kind of hate myself for being a producer now because it took a little my fandom away.
Mm-hmm.
But big movements. I like big movements. Soft little shimmies and shakes just don't get my heart to quake.
Yep.
And I'm gonna say there is a nosebleed section in the theater. So if they don't give a big movement and they're not in the sweet spot of the stage, that nosebleed section is not gonna see them.
And then we look at overall choreography. I like freestyle acts when they're live band acts, but just don't run around
Oh,
taking
so
off your
and
clothes.
this is also another reason we really talk about the routine and going over and over and polishing it is because what they give us on stage and we're recording, those videos are then going out to other festivals to say, hey, yeah, that's what my act is.
And at this point, we have 3 other festivals, and we're going to talk to some other producers and even you guys, if you want to say, hey, I have this show and I'm willing to give one of your winners a producer place in my show. That would be great. But right now we have 3 festivals. 3?
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
3, maybe 4.
I can't remember. I am just really tired from this weekend. I'm just gonna say.
So it's very
Cool.
important that the act or the heart and the core of the act they see at GLCC is the act that's presented on their stage.
And if they take the notes that we give them or they gain weight and get an entirely different costume, we always we forget to tell our proteges, hey, the producer needs to know that if you're not your costume's not red and sparkly anymore and it's black and this,
It could change their whole lineup.
yeah, it could change their lineup. So do make sure you tell them, hey, I changed this to my act, especially when it's something dramatic.
And something that you provided the recording for.
Yeah.
That's all right. So choreography is important. We all know why. And then of course a big one is the showmanship and the overall stage presence. How did the crowd like you? Did they get behind you? Did you own that stage or did you hide in the dark spots?
Bones and I have this saying that we are terrible at burlesque, but we are terribly entertaining. Because what I can't do in my moves, I make up in my face, or we make up in the song or energy. Legend, Georgette Dante, she is really big about showmanship and entertainment. She doesn't care about all the little things. She wants the glam, the sparkling, and the energy that person brings to the stage.
And part of going with that is knowing where to stand, knowing where to be, and how to be there. So that's your showmanship and your overall stage presence. You bring, well, I guess that crosses into stage presentation, but
And since we're here, how many minutes do we have left?
I do not know.
Okay, well, you find that out, and I'm going to talk about the stage and the theater. Okay, so there is a nosebleed section. It has 12 seats. That is for the non-performing proteges on the night that they're not performing. For them to take up that row because there's only one entrance in, and when you're seated, you're seated. They're up there, and then all the other people, all the other seats are sold. If you are if they are performing, there will be a live stream, one in the dressing room with the sound off, and then two in the lounge, which will be a paid live streaming. But all the performers, after they're done, can go to the lounge. They can drink. That way, they're not coming into the theater because it is distracting. When those doors close, they close.
This is a small venue, so we've got 144 seats to work with.
But stadium seat kind of
Stadium style seating
yeah.
with kind of a VIP pit, with what 11 front row seats, and then
It's
it's
30
33 seats.
33 seats with a front row.
33 premier seats.
It
what
is
we call
about a foot from the stage to the ground, and there is a step, but I recommend no one getting off the stage.
Okay, this is a theater stage. It's an actual theater. It'll be we're gonna be curtained off. There's gonna be props behind our curtain for the play that's right behind us.
That nobody needs to even be back there because it's
Right.
adding 20 feet of
Dark
darkness,
space, yeah.
dark space. So that whole area is blocked off. They have about a 20 by 16.
The front of the stage is 20, but it's art. Okay,
It
the
starts
building
going
is
back to where like it goes from 20 to maybe like 16 as you go back to the very back of the stage.
to our limit, to where our curtain is. So
But
it's actually, but the sweet spot is the 8x8 from center to front.
But they can go to the very front and be seen by anybody in the theater. And they just got more lights and new lights, and we're installing them.
Yeah.
So
we're going to use their lighting tech because they know their lighting. This year we're not going to be asking for pre-lighting schemes. We're going to ask for preferred colors, but
I'm not having 40% green fade out to the blue at 30% on 1 minute and 46 seconds. It's not going to happen.
Yes, we're not doing that. What's happened? We want quality videos with this, so we're going to try to get a good light tech that can give us some good lighting. Try to get preferred colors in there,
and that's theatrical, but it doesn't
wash out the video.
Yeah, and where you
Right.
can't see the performer.
Because these videos, we didn't have great videos last year. They were good. They weren't great.
One night it was more pink. So, but they all got into festivals.
So the videos worked, so we were happy about that. Let's see, choreography shows stage. We talked about the stage. It's
dressing room.
The dressing room is going to be
6 stations.
Six stations at a time.
So you should have 6 proteges or less, right? So each of them has their stations. When from the very beginning of the set list to the very end, they're going the order. And then the next team for after intermission will be on the tables with all of their stuff, so that when the person is done performing, they can get their stuff and put it underneath the table, and the performer next up can then go to the
table
beauty
to
station.
do their touch ups
or anything like that.
So
Okay.
So it'll be everybody will have room in the dressing room, but
And there will be a manager stage room.
and I think we'll have some mirrors. We'll try to have some mirrors at the back
Extra
tables,
mirrors, yeah.
at back tables. But we know we're all good about rotating in and out of those mirrors. Well, you always get the one. You always get the one. But we do have a dressing room monitor that'll be working with us to keep everything flowing, to keep the nerves down, and to keep alcohol out of my dressing room.
And so we get our deposit back on the dressing room.
Yeah. I'm not if you want to drink, go to the lounge.
Yeah.
I
Drinking's in the lounge, no alcohol in the dressing room.
That's not a theater rule. That's a Bones and Gabby rule.
Yeah. The other theater we were going to use, that was the rule. And then we were just going to adapt it, period. Drinks do spill, and it is really bad if a alcoholic or cola or beers spills on someone's costume.
Yeah. Or they're swallowing swords and they can't.
It does keep when they're nervous, keeps down the over excessive drinking, where they're more accountable because they're going to the lounge and having to drink there. They're done performing, or they drink just a few drinks before and they're not falling off the stage.
If my back stage crew looks at me and says, "Hey, this performer is too
liberated.
you know, under the influence to be getting on our stage, and we're gonna pull them. Quietly and practically and professionally. That's kind of the way we like to do things.
And I'm just okay. So this is California. So a marijuana is allowed. The venue has said that they can go smoke it in their car or they can go out a side of the parking lot and smoke it. They don't care. It's not a big deal. It's all on them. And
Okay.
time is running out. So
Soon we'll be putting out the ticket links are ready. I've got the ticket links ready. So that will be out in the coming days. Let's start getting our team post. You guys start working with your teams. Get us some team posters. Let's get some, you know, it's time. Once we hit the 90-day mark, we really start the advertising, and
so
we
this
really want
month
to
is
start.
the month to get your proteges pictures and make a team poster.
Yeah, and we'll be doing the same thing.
All right. And I think that's
Cool.
it.
Oh, questions real
Any
quick.
questions? Yeah. Do we have enough?
Do we have
If
enough?
not, I was like, send me on
Yeah.
question for page.
Okay.
You're good. Go. You got time. We got time. Go. Shoot.
We have 9 minutes.
I don't know if I have questions. It sounds good.
Oh, okay.
So we just make the poster and send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
Then, okay.
I had a talk. I did a Zoom thing, and I said the proteges that send you pictures, like a headshot or a regular picture for your poster, and for their individual. We want something different if we're using it that's not been used on your poster.
Right. Okay. Got that.
And then, of course,
I
whenever
feel like I had one more question, but I can't remember.
if you want to come up with team names or team mottos, that's great.
Oh, and brunch at the it's not a brunch anymore, it's an award ceremony. We're gonna do the award ceremony on Sunday. We'll have mimosas and some, I think we've got
Breakfast
some
food,
donated,
donuts, yeah,
yeah,
stuff like
some
that.
donated stuff.
We do the awards, but we always let the mentors give out their own awards to their proteges for something about their acts or them, whatever. Just make sure it's not offensive to the protege.
Yeah, if you give an award, you know, make sure you're willing to stand behind that award.
And that it's encouraging, and what else? And that
It's
you
fun.
give it to all of your proteges. Like if you're going to give one, you got to come up with something for all of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really hard on the proteges when one is left out or when a mentor forgets or doesn't show up at the awards brunch and leaves them by themselves and they're the only one without a mentor.
Mm.
So
leaving Bones and Grabby to scramble and try to figure it
and
out.
yes, we have blank certificates that we use just in case
Yes.
for
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So
Okay.
That's it.
if you guys want to come in matching outfits, if you guys want to have
Team
a
it up,
team
make
color, and think of it as like a camp versus and cheerleading or dance and music.
We don't want this
theater,
to
it's all-
feel like a competition. We want this to feel like an empowerment program that's here to help you on your journey, because
That's what the reason why they're classes. It's for everybody to get better, to take different classes from different teachers, to learn different skills.
and we all know burlesque hurt. I think that at the grassroots, when we first grab these performers, if we teach them, hey, there's hurt out there, but if we network and we're honest and we're upfront, we can.
Oh my gosh, that's what we were supposed to discuss during the scoring sheets.
Oh.
How to be a good loser and a good winner.
Oh, yes.
There's no kicking trash cans. There is no crying at the tables with winners and making them feel bad for them winning.
Yes.
We want to encourage that everybody is a winner. There's so many categories. It does not mean that you're the worst. It just means they were better or something they liked. They can get better. We don't want to have people taking someone's moment away from them winning.
Honestly, my GLCC act, when I did it, was good. It didn't win. I didn't get upset about it. But now that I've had time with it and I've got to put it out there and work with it, it's something that could win another competition.
Definitely want to encourage the proteges, hey, this is the first debut. you never know how an act is going to go, the stage, how you were doing the day before, if you did too much that day, everything is different. It's just the day of. I don't want, I want the mentors to also be positive and encourage, even if their person didn't win, that they are positive to the people who did win, and
At the end of
don't
the
make any
day,
strife that there should have won over someone else. Does that make sense? We want to be good winners too as mentors.
at the end of the day,
Agree.
90% of us do this for the joy of it. Let's not steal that joy.
I want to just say a name like Laura Lamore from last year. She's 68 years old, and we do have quite a few proteges that are over 50 and 60. Laura Lamore, she just wanted to develop a great act and have her moment on
And
stage before she
feel like that star.
that superstar before she gets too old to do anything. Okay. She wanted to feel like the superstar. And some of the proteges just want to have that one feeling, that one act. Some want to keep on going with their journey. So each protege is at a different stage. So how they win or lose, some people have been doing burlesque and know that they're not the same caliber this day or that day with a judge, right? And not with the judge, on stage. They didn't give the best performance. And sometimes they do. And it just was 0.16 away on the score. And I can't tell a protege, hey, you only lost by 0.16, and make them feel like crap. Like, you know what I mean? It could be so close, but I don't want them to focus on the points or about winning.
It's
I want
about
them to focus on the good time, about learning classes, that the time that they got with the mentor, the legends, that they really appreciate that time.
and this is for you guys as branding too. We want you to be able to give them the lessons. They're hungry to learn about the things you know. They want to know how to mix a video. They want to know how to mix a sound. If that's in you, share it. Share it. If it's not, we understand. If it's marketable,
If
and
you
that's
know
what you do,
someone
market
that
it.
another mentor that knows how to do this, or a teacher, they need to take a class. I need to take a class on fans. So I need to go take that with different people and adapt, and then go with my mentor and figure out what I need to do with the fans.
To be a master mentor, it doesn't mean you have to master everything in the art. That would be cool.
Mhm.
But I think you would be not a pleasant person.
I do want to encourage that proteges, they can go to other people's classes and adapt and take things from those that they learn, those skills.
Not cheating.
It's not cheating. However, if they have another teacher or mentor
Who's
who
directly
is directing
influencing?
their act and has done their choreograph, helped with their costume, is talking to them almost daily, and they are not communicating with you or listening to you, they may not go on stage. They have to talk to our legend because they're not utilizing the program. So are you going to continue paying for us? Are you going to badmouth the program or the mentor after all this is done? Why aren't you using your mentor? That's our big thing. Why aren't you using your co-mentor? The legend, that's why you're paying for this program. Are you only paying because you think you're going to come in and sweep everything? So those are, because this is a learning festival, an educational and hybrid program. This is for all levels to get better. We really take that in advance. So
that was probably the biggest when we first took on this project and said, hey, this is what we want to do with our retirement. Oddly enough,
we got 1 minute.
We put out a survey, and one of the there was a lot of main things, but one of the reoccurrent themes that we noticed was inconsistency in the teaching and the mentorship, and that's what we were trying to bring.
We're not getting enough
And I think we're
mentorship.
done.
So, and we're done. We love you guys. Have a great day and a week, and hope to hear from you guys, and have a look at the sheets and let us know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
40 minutes is so quick.
Right? Thank you, Red Velvet, for coming out or joining us too.
Thank you.
Recording.